Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Lutfia X student number C11-2019-02057. I'm here to carry out my final semester exam assignment. I will present the result of my proposal. The title is a comparative analysis between English idiomatic expression in Indonesia translation found in the movie Adventures and Game. English is tool for communicating orally and in writing, according to Wells quote from the Mystery of the National Education in Kemendiknas number 22 of 2006. Communicating is understanding and expressing information, thoughts, feelings, and development science and technology and culture by using language. The ability to communicate in the full sense is ability to discourse, namely the ability to understand and produce spoken and writing texts which are manifest in a language skills, namely listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Culture is way of life that exists in a human group, then developed and is passed down from a generation to generation from the old group before. Culture comes from the Sanskrit budaya, which is a plural form of Buddhi. Culture in general show in the characteristic and knowledge of a particular group of people, which includes language, religion, cuisine, social custom, and music and art. Translation and culture. Translation and culture are both closely related. Translating text is basically translating culture, because a language is a product of particular culture. Translation is a complex process involving linguistic in culture and translation in intercultural communication. Culture is a way of life that is developed and shared by a group of people. Comparative analysis. Comparative analysis is a study of language elements according to Ladut 1975. Comparative analysis is way to describe the difficult or easy of a language learning, a second language and a foreign language. Comparative analysis is not only to compare linguistic elements and linguistic system in the first language, B1, with the second language, B2, but also to compare and describe the cultural background of the two languages so that a result can be used to teach a second language or a foreign language. 5-step comparative analysis. Step 1. Selection. The analysis carried out in this selection step can be seen the following. Step 4. Selection of comparative analysis. English items. Why the long, fast long. Indonesia translation. Bersedih or sad. Step 2. Description. The analysis is as follows. Description of comparative analysis step. English item. Long adjective. Fast noun. Indonesia translation. Bersedih, perfect verb, adjective set. Step 3. Comparison. The analysis is followed. Comparative step of contrastive analysis. Long fast set of similarity but are the same sentence. Different English idiomatic, Indonesia in non-idiomatic. Step 4. Predict, and then the result will predict the findings as can be seen in the following. Predict step of comparative analysis. Similarity different idiomatic expression in English are familiar to Indonesia translation. Idiomatic expression in English are the translated into non-idiomatic expression in Indonesian. Step 5. Verify. In this last step, the result vary by highlighting the similar and the difference in result of the comparative analysis. Here is the problem of predictability over different, because similar don't usually custom. Predication of a problems or translation in this A first step can be seen in the following. Verification step for contrastive analysis predicate learning problems altered English idiomatic expression translated into Indonesia are not idiomatic expression. Learners can make the mistake of translating the process long phase into long phase which unacceptable. Study limitation. Limitation between the English item and its Indonesia translation in the movie Adventures and Game. The difference between the English item and its Indonesia translation in the movie Adventures and Game. Predict learning or translation problems based on the difference between English items and Indonesian translation found in the movie Adventures and Game. Research question. Number 1. What are the similarities between in the English idiom and its Indonesia translation in the movie Adventures and Endgame? Number 2. What is the difference between English idiom and its Indonesia translation in the movie Adventures and Endgame? Number 3. How do we predict learning or translation problems based on the difference between English idioms and Indonesia translation found in the movie Adventures and Game? Research purpose. Number 1. To find out the similarities between the English idiom and the Indonesia translation contained in the movie Adventures and Game. Number 2. To find out the difference between English idioms and Indonesia translation contained in the movie Adventures and Game. Number 3. To predict learning or translation problems based on the difference between English idioms and Indonesia translation found in the movie Adventures and Game. Significant or provide the following benefit. Number 1. The researchers, the process and the result of this research will be a very meaningful experience for the researchers, the writer of this thesis. Number 2. Researchers in a field of translation studies, the result of this study can also be useful for other researchers. Number 3. Writers in general can also benefit from the result of this study. Number 4. Translation partitioner. The result of this study may also be useful for translation partitioner. Number 5. Intuition. The result of this thesis can also be useful as a slight addition to state of the art or theories on the translation studies, and therefore this thesis is can useful academic contribution to the intuition, especially to the academic program of the Department of English, Faculty of Cultural Science, Dian. So, for my presentation, if there are words that are lacking, I apologize profusely. Thank you.